Hello, everybody. Let's see. Okay, I think people are rolling in. If you can see my screen, just go ahead and let me know in the chat. I hope everybody is having a great Thursday. Fantastic. Okay, awesome. Y'all can see my screen. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what the weather is like where you are. I'm curious about this all the time. We have gotten like our first massive snowfall here in Colorado. It's been snowing for, the meteorologists say, 38 hours straight, and it's not supposed to stop until Saturday night. So really enjoying the winter wonderland that's happening here. Looks like it's super sunny in a lot of places. Sunny and 70. Oh, Florida, always hot in Florida. Minnesota, 48 degrees and sunny. Overcast in Arkansas. I love a great overcast day. I just love like sitting in bed. Sometimes I'll like work from bed, get cozy. Sunny in Seattle. Love to hear that. Incredible. Awesome. Looks like everybody is experiencing some really, really nice weather right now. So I'm really happy for everybody. Scarily warm in Massachusetts. I know, guys, it's November. It needs to be cooling down. I feel you on that. All right, awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in today. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tiara Steffen, and I am the Product Marketing Coordinator on the Qgiv by Bloomerang team. Today, I'll be going over how you can encourage your supporters to become recurring donors and create an effective recurring giving program. So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. We are recording the webinar, so all registrants will receive an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to the session as well as some additional resources. And please feel free to use the chat like you've been doing already for any general discussion and to talk with your fellow fundraisers who are on the webinar today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. You can add those into the Q&A tab in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. But if you're having trouble with the Q&A tab, absolutely no worries. Just drop those questions in the chat. We'll keep track of them and answer them at the end as well. And if you use social media, please feel free to share any highlights or your favorite takeaways from the webinar and give us a follow. All right, well, just going to introduce myself real quick. Like I said, my name is Tiara Steffen. I am the product marketing coordinator on the Qgiv by Bloomerang team. I've been on the team for about 3 years now, and I really love researching fundraising best practices and helping nonprofits level up their fundraising game. Outside of work, you can often find me at a concert, watching movies, playing trivia, or hanging out with my senior dog. So first of all, what are we going to cover today in regards to recurring giving? Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to increase recurring gifts, how to encourage donors to upgrade their one-time gifts, how to build awareness of recurring giving options, how to optimize your donation pages and donation forms to collect recurring gifts, and also how to build loyalty and inspire advocacy in your recurring donors. But before we get into all of that, why should you even focus on recurring giving? Well, I've got a few good reasons here for you. To start off, recurring givers give more than one-time donors. In fact, they give 42% more than one-time donors per year. This is particularly evident in their lifetime value, which is significantly higher. They actually give 5.4 times more than one-time donors over their lifetimes. And with an average gift of $31 per month, with each recurring donation, recurring supporters don't just add to your immediate funding needs, but continually boost your long-term financial stability. Their predictable giving patterns allow you to plan and execute projects with more certainty and efficiency, ensuring your mission's continuity and effectiveness. Moreover, recurring donors show a remarkable return on investment, or ROI. The cost associated with acquiring recurring donors is notably lower compared to one-time donors, mainly due to the reduced effort in retention and ongoing engagement. Because of this, they tend to contribute more over the course of a year, making the acquisition of just one recurring donor a more cost-effective strategy. This approach saves resources and amplifies your capacity to support more initiatives, highlighting the immense value recurring donors bring to your organization. As you focus on fostering these vital relationships, you can substantially strengthen your financial foundation and your impact. The second reason why recurring giving is so important: recurring donors stay longer. They stay more involved with your organization and are 2 times more likely to support a nonprofit beyond 1 year. But how much longer do recurring donors stick around? Well, according to statistics from the Giving Institute, recurring donors stick around for an average of 8.08 years, while non-recurring donors only stay involved with an organization for an average of 1.68 years. That's a massive, massive difference. Recurring donors are also 90% more likely to stay involved after giving for 1 year, and they are also 10 to 14% more likely to register for your fundraising events and participate in your peer-to-peer fundraisers. That percentage might seem like a small number, but forming advocate groups in peer-to-peer fundraising can be so valuable for creating a successful peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. So these are perfect donors to reach out to kick off your fundraising. And our third reason: donors actually prefer recurring giving. It's true that giving to nonprofits was down in 2023, but overall, the number of recurring donors actually increased, and that isn't an exception to any sort of trend. From 2018 to 2022, the average nonprofit saw their number of recurring donors grow 127%. Additionally, for many donors that love a cause and want to show their support with a larger gift, it may be more reasonable and attainable for them to give multiple smaller gifts over time instead of a very big donation all at once. Giving $25 a month feels like much less of a financial burden than giving $300 all in one go. And it's scientifically proven that giving to a nonprofit makes people happy. It just enhances people's emotional well-being to give back, whether that be with a financial donation or by contributing time to volunteering. There are several experimental studies that have been conducted to examine whether there are any correlations between giving and level of happiness. And this is also now backed up by MRI scans, which actually show a warm glow effect in the reward centers of the brain. So when a donor gives on a recurring basis over time, they're going to experience that satisfaction every time their recurring donation is made. Now, in order to really effectively recruit and retain recurring donors, it's important to understand the donor journey. There are many ways for potential donors to learn about your nonprofit and eventually become recurring donors. So it's your job to be consistent in your messaging and make it really easy for donors to give once they land on your website. So here are the donor journey interactions. The first one is awareness. Now, awareness refers to a donor's ability to discover that your organization exists and also understand your mission. If your nonprofit isn't already a household name, odds are that you need to find a good way to get the attention of your prospective donors and educate them. So that's where the second stage comes in. That's the consideration stage. This stage is also sometimes referred to as the research stage. This stage of the journey occurs after prospective supporters have discovered your organization and are now considering reasons to give to your particular nonprofit. Then the third step is the decision. This is them making the donation. This is the exciting part. Your prospective donors have now crossed the threshold to become actual donors to your organization. But of course, you don't just want donors to come to you for just one gift. Ideally, they'll become long-term donors, and that means inspiring loyalty and advocacy. Now, all of this is important. You need to think about how you are communicating with donors through external communication, on your website, on third-party websites, and your advocacy program to encourage those recurring gifts. You need to get into the mind of your donors and understand how they interact with your organization. So we're going to break down the donor journey in this webinar by first going over what you can do in those first 3 stages to engage recurring donors: the awareness, consideration, and the decision to make the donation. And then we'll focus in on the loyalty and advocacy portion of the donor journey. Now, the first thing you should do when starting a recurring giving program is to actually provide your donors with an easy way to give on a recurring basis. This falls into that consideration and decision stage of the donor journey. Now, it may seem a bit backwards to focus on this first before awareness, but it doesn't make sense to ask your donors for recurring gifts when they don't actually have a way to give on a recurring basis first. You need to add recurring giving options to your donation pages and forms so that when you're ready to start sending those recurring gift appeals, you already have those tools in place to start accepting those recurring donations. So first, add recurring gifts to your donation forms. By doing this, you enable donors to effortlessly set up those ongoing contributions. This not only secures continuous funding for your organization, but also fosters deeper engagement from your supporters who wish to make a sustained impact. To further encourage recurring donations, focus on eliminating donor friction. Begin by offering multiple recurring giving options. This could include both custom plans where donors decide the amount and frequency that suits them best, as well as preset plans that cater to popular contribution levels. By providing diverse options, you cater to a broader donor base. But make sure not to add too many donation options and frequencies. Now, have you ever felt like watching something on Netflix, but you just spent way too long scrolling through your options because there was just too many to choose from? The same thing can happen if you give your donors too many options on your donation form. It can turn the donation experience overwhelming for them, and they'll be less likely to make that recurring gift. Additionally, it's important to allow for multiple giving frequencies. Some donors might prefer monthly giving, while others find quarterly or annual contributions much more feasible for them. The more flexible you are with these options, the more likely donors are to commit to a recurring plan. Finally, empower your donors by allowing them to set start and end dates for their donations. This flexibility assures them that they are in control of their giving, avoiding any concerns about long-term commitments or unforeseen financial changes. Incorporating these strategies will not only enhance your donor experience, but also potentially increase your recurring donation revenues, helping you achieve greater sustainability and impact. But just adding recurring giving options to your form isn't enough. You need to encourage your donors to actually use them. So let's talk about using subtle reminders on your donation forms to nudge your donors towards a recurring gift. Because who doesn't love a good reminder, right? It's best to encourage your one-time donors to upgrade by gently highlighting the benefits of recurring gifts. So first up, highlight those recurring options on your donation form. Make sure it's easy for your donors to spot how to upgrade their gifts. Now, you can do this in a few different ways. One of them is to add an icon or a special color to make the recurring donation option stand out. So for example, like you can see here on Qgiv's forms, there's a little icon on the ongoing tab. And when the tab is clicked on, a fun little animation pops up with that heart. You can also consider adding callouts or nudges. These are small, friendly messages that suggest, hey, why not make a recurring gift? It's soft, it's subtle, and it works wonders in guiding your donors to make a more impactful decision. You can add an extra text box to your form that explains how a recurring gift can increase your donors' impact. Finally, use prompts as a final ask before your donors complete their one-time gift. As donors are about to hit that submit button, consider adding a pop-up window with a prompt saying something like, "Want to amplify your impact? Consider a recurring gift." It's that last friendly nudge that might make all the difference. By weaving in these tactics, you're not just pushing for more donations, you're building a little community of loyal supporters committed to your cause. So keep it light, keep it subtle, and you're on your way to a stronger, more sustainable donor base. Now, beyond your form itself, there are plenty of ways that you can highlight your recurring gift options on your donation pages that lead to or host your forms to make sure recurring donations are on the mind of your donors. First, you can add an eye-catching banner image. Think of this like your page's warm handshake. This is a catchy, vibrant banner at the top that can grab attention and subtly hint, hey, consider making your gift a monthly thing. Next, try adding an impact statement about recurring gifts. This is where you can tug at the heartstrings. So add a little blurb like, your monthly gift supports X number of families to show donors the real difference their ongoing support can make. And then finally, eliminate any distractions on your donation pages. Just keep it simple. Remove any unnecessary clutter or options that might sidetrack your donors. You want to think about website navigation and other engagement opportunities. If something on your page leads donors away from your form, it's probably not a good choice to include it. The smoother the path to your form, the higher the chance your donors will click recurring. So here's an example of a Giving Tuesday donation page from the Consumer Technology Association Foundation that engages donors and encourages them to consider a monthly gift. First of all, this organization added the option for an ongoing donation to their forms. One tab allows donors to give their traditional one-time gifts, but donors can easily click over to the ongoing tab to see their options for recurring gifts. They've also added a modal that nudges donors towards the decision to make a monthly donation. This subtle call out doesn't scream for your donors to make a recurring donation or feel too aggressive. Instead, it plants the idea for your donors to upgrade their gift without being too pushy. This particular campaign also includes matching donations from a generous donor. So they've included that information in a dedicated text box so donors know their impact can be doubled without any extra effort from them, making them more likely to give. Now, a fundraising thermometer shows the campaign's progress, helping donors visualize just how much has been raised so far and how much more is needed to reach the fundraising goal. In fact, a 2023 study from Next After showed that a donation page with a fundraising thermometer can result in a 6 times lift of donation volume. When the thermometer is close to being filled, donors will be more likely to donate to contribute to help your organization make it over that finish line. And finally, they've also included a social widget that shows the organization's Facebook posts to keep the engagement going and to make it easy for donors to find and follow them. Now, before we dive into strategy, I want to quickly highlight how Qgiv's donation forms enable nonprofits to start building their recurring donor base. First one, the recurring tab. You want to make it really easy for donors to find that recurring giving option. So just make it a click away, no fuss. Secondly, that subtle reminder to upgrade. You want to plant a gentle nudge for donors to consider boosting their donations over time. Just think of it as a thoughtful suggestion to upgrade. Next is that recurring prompt. Don't be shy. Prompt them right when they're about to wrap up their one-time donation. A little reminder never hurts, and it actually helps. In fact, our research shows that our recurring donation prompts actually increase recurring donations by 25%. Now, a little tip here, to maximize the likelihood of a donor upgrading their gift at this point in the process, you can set the suggested donation amount that shows up in the final recurring prompt to be less than the one-time donation amount they've currently decided on, so the prospect of making a recurring donation feels less daunting. Now, you can also add images and texts to your donation amounts. So these images and text can help make those donation tiers irresistible. You want your donors to think, wow, so that's how I can make a difference, and they'll be more likely to donate. You can also offer giving plans. These flexible giving plans help donors choose what kind of giving options fit them best. So giving your donors choices make them feel empowered to have control over their gifts. And going along with that, you can give donors further control by allowing them to set clear start and end dates for their recurring donations. Transparency builds trust. You can also create custom donation pages. You can tailor each of your donation pages to really hit home with your audience. Personalization will help you grab your donors' attention and win their hearts over so they'll feel inspired to donate. And next, multi-step forms. So instead of overwhelming your donors with a long form with too many fields to fill out before your donors get to the checkout button, guide donors through a quick and breezy step-by-step process. Your donors are more likely to abandon their donation if they think your form is just way too long to fill out. Instead, multi-step forms build a feeling of momentum throughout the giving process, so your donors will be more likely to click through and complete their donations. And then finally, multiple giving frequencies. Let your donors decide how often they want to give. Monthly, quarterly, annually, give them the choice. So now that we've discussed how recurring giving fits on your donation forms and you've set up those options, let's dive a little bit into the strategy and some best practices for building awareness of recurring giving options during your year-end fundraising season and beyond. Now, a great way to dive into recurring gifts is to just simply ask your donors for them. So first, add recurring gifts in your appeals for year-end and Giving Tuesday. You want to tie in recurring giving with your year-end and Giving Tuesday messaging and explain how your donors will make a greater impact by making a recurring gift. Another option is to send a dedicated appeal for recurring gifts. You'll want to tie in the appeal still with your year-end and Giving Tuesday messaging, but since the entire email is dedicated to a recurring gift, you should add messaging about why you need recurring gifts, how donors will make a greater impact, and also show that impact. These will be most effective if you have a general need that requires ongoing support at your nonprofit. Maybe you have support resources like food for shelter animals, or an additional service like emergency medical care that are supported by ongoing funds. Additionally, if you have multiple needs that require ongoing support, you can craft giving plans for donors so they can choose which programs in particular they want to support. You can also give your donors additional control over their gifts by allowing them to pick their start and end dates for when the recurring gifts begin and when they end to increase your donors' trust in your organization and empower them to give for however long they want if they feel uneasy about giving recurring gifts with no end in sight. When you're sending your appeals, make sure to segment them between one-time donors and recurring donors. Your recurring donors are going to feel confused if they receive appeals asking them to give on a recurring basis when they already do. So instead, create special appeals for your recurring donors, encouraging them to maybe give a little extra for your year-end or Giving Tuesday campaign, or to increase their recurring donation frequency or amount. Another best practice for increasing awareness of recurring gifts is to show your donors the impact of making a recurring gift. Explaining the impact of a recurring gift gives donors a tangible connection between their increased support and the work your nonprofit does, increasing the likelihood that they'll actually upgrade their one-time gift. So give them answers to some simple questions like, first, will I accomplish more by giving on a recurring basis? Who am I sponsoring? Am I sponsoring a child, an animal, a family? What exactly can be accomplished with my recurring gift? For example, how many families will I be able to feed? And also, will my recurring gift make a bigger difference and go further than a one-time gift? And show the impact. Answer all these questions in appeals, on donation forms, on receipts. Storytelling through different mediums will help donors understand who they are helping with their recurring gift. Use compelling text to paint a vivid picture. Let them know that their recurring gift isn't just another donation, it's a ripple of change. Describe how ongoing contributions help achieve specific goals. For example, every monthly gift ensures 10 children will receive nutritious meals. It's important to know that people love stories, especially when they can see them. So use images and videos to visually communicate the real world impact of donations. Show donors the smiles on children's faces, the new equipment you purchased, or the therapy sessions that are now taking place thanks to their contributions. And continue updating recurring donors on their impact. Be transparent about exactly what their donations accomplish. Share milestones and accomplishments facilitated by recurring gifts. Whether it's funding scholarships, providing shelter, or planting trees, consistently updating them builds a narrative of progress and partnership. Now, in addition to describing the impact, make recurring gifts feel special and provide extra incentives for recurring donors. Make sure to segment your communications and craft specific language for your recurring donors. This shows them that you recognize their contributions and their ongoing support instead of just lumping them in with all of your other donors. Part of these communications includes the receipts your donors receive after making a gift. The donation receipt is often one of the first touches donors receive in recognition for their support, so it's really, really important to get that right. You want to make sure that you can customize your donation receipts for recurring gifts versus one-time gifts. With Qgiv, you can do this by incorporating conditional content that will only show up on donation forms if a gift is recurring. You can also use special language to really connect with your one-time donors and encourage them to upgrade their gift. Now, what do I mean by special? Well, language like be a hero or you're a champion for our cause will make donors feel like they're going above and beyond for your mission and that you're singling them out to recognize them for their support. You can also create a special membership program or provide special perks specifically for your recurring donors. People love to be involved and feel really special when they're part of an exclusive group. So this will keep these donors involved with your organization and also create a sense of community amongst your supporters. And offer extra incentives. Since these donors are more involved with your organization, they will most likely want to stay up to date on news at your organization, would be interested in attending your events, and want to support your nonprofit by maybe wearing a shirt or a hat. So offer your recurring donors like a special discount on 5K registrations or access to exclusive events. Send them special newsletters, offer them free tickets or merchandise, create special VIP experiences at events, and anything else that makes recurring donors feel special. So here's a great example of a recurring donation appeal from Helping Up Mission for their Helping Up Heroes campaign. First, they've included an impactful image and statement which expresses why a donation is so important. It helps connect donors to their mission and gives them a better understanding of why this campaign is being run in the first place. Now, when it comes to the recurring donation amounts they offer, they've provided a specific breakdown of how each amount makes an impact and what those donations will be used for. They've also created a special group that recurring donors will belong to called Helping Up Heroes to help build that feeling of community and belonging. And finally, they've included special language in their call to action, or CTA, letting donors know that by giving, they're becoming a hero. But your relationship with your recurring donors goes beyond the initiation of their recurring gifts. You need to be able to retain and cultivate a strong relationship with your recurring donors. And a great way to do that is by making them feel special. So let's go over some ways that you can do that in Qgiv's system. Firstly, you can always pull a list of recurring donors, which is really helpful if you're doing some personal outreach to those supporters. Knowing who's who is super helpful for making sure that you're addressing different groups of donors appropriately. If you're using a CRM like Bloomerang, you can easily update your donor records to reflect their level of involvement, or you can use an email integration to send emails to your sustaining donors. With these integrations, you can make sure you'll be sending just the right message to the right people at the right time. Those two tools make it easier to segment your emails and make them more relevant to your donors, send updates, mention their loyalty, and generally make them feel like they're doing something amazing by supporting your organization. You also want to make sure to highlight their support in future appeals. So make sure to mention and highlight their support, how it's moved mountains for your cause. It's all about love and appreciation. Let them know their gifts are making a real difference. And super importantly, you need to be thanking your donors. Never skimp on the appreciation. Thank them often and keep them updated regularly. Imagine like you're giving them little virtual high fives that tell your donors that they're real MVPs of your mission. So remember that donor journey that we talked about in the beginning of the webinar? Well, every best practice and strategy we've talked about so far falls in those first 3 stages. So first, you've sent your year-end appeal. We just talked about this, and it's the way you spread awareness of your mission and your recurring giving program and offer donors the option to become recurring donors. Next, your donors will explore your website. They'll see your impact statements to better understand your mission and how recurring giving can make a difference for the work your organization does. All of this will help them make the decision to give to your organization and become recurring donors. Now that you've optimized your appeals and your website to drive your donors to make a recurring gift, it's time to build loyalty and turn your donors into advocates. Recurring donors are more likely to stick around, but that does not mean that you should ignore them once they've given. It takes work to retain donors. You want to make them feel connected to your mission and see the impact of their contributions, so they're more likely to stick around and continue supporting you. So let's start with how you can keep them engaged. Now, your year-end campaigns are probably already planned out and some may already be active, but let's talk about ways that you can turn your donors into advocates during this crucial fundraising season and beyond. Once your donors have set up their gifts, it's time to start cultivating that relationship. So you've got an amazing donor who's just clicked that checkout button to support your nonprofit, but their journey isn't over yet. With a Qgiv form, your donor will automatically be taken to a confirmation page that lets them know that you've received their donation. You can use this opportunity to build out and customize that donation confirmation page and turn it into a part of your storytelling and engagement tools. So first things first, continue your story right there on the page. Thank your donors with a big, warm, heartfelt message. Have a thank you page ready that's specific to your year-end campaign, and make sure to include your impact statement that gives donors a concrete idea of how their recurring donations will actually help create change. You can take things a bit further by shooting a personalized thank you video. A real person speaking directly to donors is going to make a really big impression on them. And it doesn't have to be a super long video. Just even a little snippet can help to show donors that their contributions matter. And these videos don't have to be professionally produced. Even just shooting something quick with a smartphone can make all the difference. And don't forget to tell your donors to keep an eye on their inbox, because a thank you email with a receipt is on its way, filled with even more gratitude from your organization. This also ensures that donors know they'll get the proper information they need about their donation in their inbox to make it easy for them to report their donations when tax season rolls around. You can also use your confirmation page to encourage advocacy by adding a super handy button for social sharing. Your donors are going to be feeling great about their donation, so make it easy for them to share their excitement about supporting your cause with their networks, all with just a single click from your confirmation page. Not only will they be spreading their own joy, but now your mission is reaching audiences that you maybe haven't engaged with yet. Lastly, there are a few features you should definitely be including on your confirmation pages just for practicality purposes. So ensure there's a donation verification section and all the necessary tax info donors are going to need for their records. Smooth and easy, right there on the page, just the way it should be. Your donors shouldn't have to hunt for any of this information. And there you have it. This is a confirmation page that's not just a final stop, but actually a launch pad for deeper engagement. Now let's talk about those donation receipts that get sent to your donors' inboxes and how you can make those special as well. So first up, consider crafting specific year-end receipts and sprinkling them with some special language for your generous recurring donors. It's all about making it personal. So add a special touch with a customized greeting that addresses your donors by name. Then include special recurring language in receipts. If you're using Qgiv, you can actually set up two different emails, one that goes out to the donor when they first set up their gift, and another one that goes out each time their monthly donation is processed. You want to thank them every time they give and make sure they feel seen for their ongoing support. Next, bring out the sincerity with a heartfelt thank you message included in your receipt. You can even take this a step further beyond your receipt and take the time to call donors and thank them directly for their support. Remember to tailor these messages uniquely between your one-time donors and for your donors that are making recurring donations. You don't want your one-time donors to contact you with concerns that they made a recurring gift when they only intended to give one time. Now, you want to include an impact statement that showcases all the changes your supporters' donations are contributing towards. And you can even visually show them their impact by maybe attaching a short video. A quick, meaningful clip goes a long way to give your donors tangible evidence of how they've made a difference. Finally, keep the engagement wheel spinning by letting donors know how they can stay involved. Highlight your upcoming events and link to your event calendar. Let them know about volunteer opportunities. Add your social media profile links so they can easily follow you on social media. And give them a way to contact you as well if they have any questions about how they can stay involved. Now, it's super easy to do all of these things and customize your receipts in the Qgiv system. So in the receipting area of your Qgiv account, you can set up those special email receipts for recurring donors. You can make these receipts more relevant by using our conditional content tool to add special language about the specifics of each gift. So if your donor gave to a specific restriction or fund, add a couple sentences about how their gift will make a difference to that particular program. You can make these receipts even more effective by adding photos so that make donors feel great about their gift and also linking to other pages where they can learn more about what specifically their gift will support. And revisit your receipt to update them periodically. You could build the best ever receipt, but it'll get stale after a while. So if your monthly donors get the same email receipt month after month after month, it will stop feeling special. Even something as simple as swapping out a photo or rewording a sentence can make a really big impact. Beyond receipts, you can also get super creative with how you express your gratitude to those recurring donors that go above and beyond by following up with some extra thank you messages. A little extra gratitude never hurts. So whether that's an email or a friendly shout out, make sure your donors feel appreciated all year round. So take to social media. Post a quick update on how your year-end campaign is going, throw in a picture or an awesome video, and don't forget to link back to your donation form in case anyone feels inspired to give more. Show the world the impact that your donors are making. If you have the time and you want to give your donors some extra special attention, give them a call. Just a quick ring to say thanks and let them know how grateful your organization is for their ongoing support. Hearing a real voice can make all the difference in helping your donors feel special and appreciated and seen. Now, if you don't have the time to spend making phone calls to your donors, how about a text message? It's simple, fast, and a great way to connect with those who might prefer a quick note, but still with a personalized touch. Qgiv offers a text fundraising package, so you can easily send outbound messages to your donors to make them feel special and appreciated. And for some extra special recognition, consider mailing a handwritten note or a little thank you gift. There's something genuinely magical about receiving something tangible that shows that you're cared for and valued for your support. So go ahead and make your donors feel that way. By taking the time to make your recurring donors feel special, you can turn your supporters into lifelong friends of your mission. Now, after your year-end campaign is over and you've sent your recurring donors their thank yous, retention still needs to be a priority. Even after the curtain falls on your year-end campaign, you should be keeping your donors updated on how your campaign went. So give your donors an update on your campaign results. Share the details of how much you raised, whether you achieved your fundraising goals or exceeded them, and most importantly, how are those funds going to make a difference? What projects is the money going to fund? Who or what will benefit from the donations that you received? Now, variety is the spice of life, right? So keep showing up in those email inboxes and maybe also drop a thoughtful letter in the mail. So for a personal touch, consider making a quick phone call or shooting a friendly text message to your recurring donors to make them feel special. And don't forget the power of social media. Give a shout out to your donors and keep them engaged and updated on your mission through posts and updates on your social media feeds. Now, you want your donors to stay engaged. So let them know all the various ways that they can stay involved with your organization by inviting them to upcoming events, sharing behind the scenes peeks at your operations to encourage them to volunteer, or suggest other ways that they can continue to champion your cause, like becoming a peer-to-peer fundraiser or just sharing about your organization's work on their social media feeds. And finally, try to segment your communications, tailoring them to different types of donors. Your one-time supporters might enjoy different content compared to your recurring donors. It's all about that personal touch. Now, when it comes to updating your recurring donors as they continue to give, you want to make sure to segment those communications and periodically update sustaining donors on what they're achieving with their recurring donations all year round. Now, I'm a huge proponent of segmenting communications to donors, if you can't already tell. If you ask someone who's already a recurring donor to make a new gift, they may feel like you don't know that they've been actively donating, and that can lead to a feeling of dissatisfaction. So segmenting donor lists will make your communications much more effective. But if you send out an appeal that recognizes they're already an active supporter and asking for maybe some additional help getting through an exceptional circumstance, like a natural disaster or an unexpected urgent need, they'll be more likely to give above and beyond what they're already giving. This segmentation will also help you send your recurring donors periodic updates about what you're achieving with their donations. These donors are trusting you with regular donations over long periods of time, so they're highly invested in your work. Tell them what that investment is doing. Segmentation also opens the door for you to occasionally invite sustaining donors to increase the size or the frequency of their gifts. This could be something like asking for a $20 a month donor to bump it up to $25 or $30, or asking a quarterly donor if they'd consider giving every month. Don't do this too regularly, but keep it in mind. You also want to build an outreach plan for lapsed donors or canceled credit cards. A Next After study found that 47% of nonprofits never made an attempt to retain a recurring donor after a credit card was canceled. This is a massive miss. So take some time to put together a plan for reaching recurring donors who have lapsed. In the Qgiv system, you can actually set up automated emails that go out to donors when they're nearing the end of the time period they set for the recurring gifts, or emails that will go out if the card a donor is using for a gift is expiring or was canceled. You could also try calling recurring donors with lapsing gifts personally to ask if they'd like to renew their gift or maybe use a different payment method. And if you use Bloomerang payments with your donation forms, the system actually auto updates outdated payment methods. So you don't even have to worry about reaching out to donors to ask them for new payment information. Now, there are plenty more ways to recruit even more recurring donors super easily, and that can come down to how you're engaging your supporters and the fundraising methods you use. So before we wrap things up here, I want to talk really quick about a couple of fundraising strategies. The first one I want to mention is text fundraising. If you're unfamiliar with text fundraising, it's a really easy way to reach your donors wherever they are, whenever is most convenient for them via text. With text to donate, your organization can set up a shortened phone number, otherwise known as a short code, a campaign keyword, and a mobile optimized donation page. When your donors feel inspired, they can text the campaign keyword to the short code and automatically receive a link to your donation form, which will include recurring giving options. Optionally, they can also include the amount they'd like to give with their keyword text, and the amount they've pledged will already be filled out on the donation page for them. And when they click to the link on your donation form, making it just that much easier for them to give. You can also set up a recurring gift campaign by creating a dedicated donation form that only includes recurring gift options. Then you can create a specific custom short code that donors can text to receive a direct link to that recurring donation form. You can also include recurring giving options in your peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns. Now, once upon a time, peer-to-peer fundraising was used almost exclusively for activity-based events like charity marathons, 5Ks, bicycle races, and walkathons. But today, peer-to-peer fundraising is super popular with nonprofits that run all kinds of campaigns. As peer-to-peer fundraising events become more creative and diverse, lots of organizations are exploring how adding new elements to their events can help them meet their fundraising goals. And one of those elements involves asking for recurring donations. So you can run a peer-to-peer giving campaign for Giving Tuesday, set up DIY fundraising campaigns that can run year-round, and so much more with peer-to-peer fundraising. Just make sure that recurring giving is an option on your fundraising pages so your peer-to-peer participants can promote it to their networks. You never know. Some friends and family members may want to give their loved ones a significant gift to observe an important milestone, or it may just be that they prefer to spread their donation out over time. It's also a valuable option for fundraisers who are running long-term peer-to-peer campaigns. No matter the reason why, one of the easiest ways to encourage regular gifts is simply just by offering the option. Now, I want to thank everyone for joining today. We're going to get to Q&A here in a moment, but first off, earlier this year, Qgiv joined the Bloomerang team to offer a modern giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of fundraising. This combined solution unifies your donors' activities, giving you the power to acquire new donors, cultivate impactful relationships, and maximize the potential of your donor communities. If you're interested in learning more and you are a Qgiv customer, feel free to email us at support@qgiv.com with any questions you have about Qgiv's online fundraising tools and the Bloomerang acquisition. If you're not a Qgiv client, you're curious about using the Qgiv platform, it's easy to request a demo. Just visit qgiv.com/demo-request and fill out the form. And if you're looking for more best practices, visit qgiv.com/blog and check out our collection of fundraising blogs and free resources. And now let's move on to our Q&A. Awesome. It looks like Wendy and Justin have been hard at work already answering some people's questions, but let's see what we have here.
Yeah, so I think one of the first questions is from Carrie. How would you explain to someone that them giving monthly as opposed to a one-time gift is more effective if ultimately they are giving the same amount? And can you give a practical example? So I can chime in a bit on this one. So I think when you're thinking about a monthly gift, if a individual, so a donor, sets a specific time frame in which that donation will end, then if you back it into, like, you know, if they were giving $100, but then they decide, like, hey, I'm going to give $10 for 10 months, and then they're going to stop it after that. Basically, one of the ways that you can talk about that is that it makes it easier financially on that individual. So they're not giving all of it all at once for $100, but they are giving it over a time frame. I will say, however, that generally when we're talking about a recurring giving campaign, the way that I would frame it is that if you give $10 and with no end date, you will make a greater impact because they will just continue giving to your organization. So that goes from $100 to $120. And then over time, over the lifetime of that donor giving to your organization, they will give much more because that recurring donation is set up. The only thing is that you have to be very specific with that and just make sure that people understand when they are setting up a recurring gift that if they want to set, an end date on that recurring gift, they can. And if not, if they just want to give until they decide to turn it off, they can also do that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, JJ. Right.
Kelly has two. On the donation page, can you make the monthly gift option the first option, or is it best practice to give one-time gift the first choice? Now, Wendy, from a Qgiv functionality, can you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
And should we, right? So I'm going to give the answer of it depends. So there are a lot of clients that maybe do a monthly campaign. Great. Yes. List it first. But sort of like Tiara covered a little bit earlier, we don't want people reaching out and saying, I accidentally gave monthly. So if it's just your standard year-round donation form, I think there are better ways of capturing that monthly donor, that being through those prompts or the nudge at the end rather than making that option first. There are also ways that we can recommend of calling that out even more on your forms.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks,
Very
Wendy.
important to be clear on that. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And then another one from Kelly. Do you count scheduled pledges as recurring donations?
So it depends. So most recurring donations with Qgiv are actual recurring donations. There's no end date. There's no finite period of time. We also have what we call giving plans, which are more used to what you would call pledges elsewhere. So I pledge to give $10 a month for 10 months sort of thing, where there's that finite period. So basically, it depends on how your form is set up. Most often, it's set up as recurring donations.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm going to give a nice healthy pause here to see if anybody else does. Doesn't seem like it. Awesome. Well, like I said, feel free to reach out using that support at qgiv.com, email. Let us know if you have any other questions. If you're a Qgiv customer, feel free to reach out as well. If you're not, we love to answer your questions. We have a great team of people here who are super passionate about online fundraising, and they're just experts in their field. So feel free to reach out. Like I said, everyone will be receiving an email tomorrow with a recording of this, including the slides. And we hope to see you in our next webinar. So thank you so much to everybody for attending today. And I hope that you have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye, everyone.